current state of physical media in 2025 is strange, and I believe we're in a limbo. Has physical media died? Is it on life support as we await the death? Or could physical media make a return to the consumer home? Several major electronics manufacturers stopped producing Blu-ray players. Most notably last year in 2024, Samsung and LG announced that they were discontinuing their Blu-ray players. And whilst the two brands weren't the top tier and the gold standard producers of Blu-ray players, it's still very worrying. Disney also announced in 2023 that they will no longer be selling DVD and Blu-ray discs in Australia and New Zealand. The last new Disney disc available to buy in both nations was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And whilst you can go back and buy the existing Disney catalogue that previously has existed, Disney will no longer be producing a single Blu-ray, DVD or 4K disc going forward. So if there's a film that you want to see remastered or another version of a film is re-releasing, it's no longer going to be available.
Pete, I'm done running.
If you want to see a Disney film become remastered on 4K or even Blu-ray, that's no longer going to exist. And whilst I do somewhat understand it due to Disney Plus, it is very worrying.
Seems like you might want some new information. And you might want to hear about 3 new shows we're doing for Disney Plus.
I think firstly, more and more viewers are becoming sick and tired of the streaming service monopoly. We pay more for less content year by year. 10 years ago, there was 1 or 2 major streaming services. Netflix was the big player. Nowadays, you're paying so much more for less content. And you have 7 to 8 major streaming services all fighting for subscriptions. And original content has become such a huge aspect of online streaming. I believe Netflix were the first huge streaming service to actually create their own shows. For example, Stranger Things, released in 2016, was a huge original show. And whilst it is a great idea for a streaming service to entice viewers to their platform with an original show, which is exclusive for their platform, there's much more that goes into it, and a lot of it is down to licensing fees. And when Netflix first started to gain a lot of traction in the early 2010s, there was a lot of shows on the streaming service which you are never going to see ever again. For example, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, The Sopranos, or anything else which is now locked into a specific streaming platform, you're never going to see again. And whilst there has been a fair share of solid original shows over the year, I really don't believe there's enough. There's really only a handful of exclusive streaming originals which I've enjoyed over the years. The most notable one for me is The Irishman. Netflix did fund and produce Martin Scorsese's crime classic in 2019.
They wouldn't dare. They wouldn't dare.
And as I mentioned, Stranger Things is another huge one, which is exclusively released on Netflix. When you're browsing through streaming platforms, it does kind of feel like you're walking past a market stall and having a bunch of traders shout prices and deals and heckle at you for your attention. I mean, just take a look at the big list of platforms now. Netflix, Max, Disney Plus, Apple TV, Hulu, Peacock, Prime Video and Paramount Plus are just a few of the streaming platform services available. And whilst we are talking about other streamers, Paramount Plus, who once called themselves the home of Star Trek, as they actually own the franchise, sold and licensed 10 Star Trek movies to HBO as part of a 6-month agreement. Amazon also purchased MGM and the Bond franchise. But if you want to watch all 26 Bond films, you're going to have a really hard time finding them. Censorship and films being removed is another huge issue. Recently, I began my pretty much yearly rewatch of The Office, and I found out that 4 episodes had actually been removed from Netflix. The series Willow was also removed from Disney Plus last year as part of a cost-cutting measure that saw dozens of shows exit the service. And I believe it was less than 14 months later, just deleted and axed the entire series from the platform. And now, they did say it was due to a budget or some sort of staffing reason to do with the servers, but it's strange. It's very strange. Imagine working on Willow or you're actually a star within the show and you can't find your own series. The so-called stream war does feel like it's coming to an end, and I think services know this.
This is the most excited I've felt about physical media since like 2012.
Netflix and Amazon now offer a cheaper alternative version of the platform, included with ads, so you will have ads throughout the film or the series that you're watching, and I think this kind of takes away the whole point. We are going back to cable TV. And it is interesting to mention that the standard membership has slowly and creepily risen in price. Over the past decade, a standard Netflix subscription has nearly doubled. And the whole idea around streaming services like Netflix was that 10 years ago you paid a set fee every month, it was significantly cheaper than cable or regular television, and you were able to access hundreds of shows and TV series at the click of a finger. But in 2025, streaming does feel more like cable than ever, and it's almost nostalgic in a way, and not in a great way either. It's quite strange to actually now look at 7 to 8 streaming services and you're kind of scrambling through the options of what film is on what and how you can access a certain series on a platform. So it's very worrying, and it's now modern day cable. You just have a load of separate subscriptions. And this is the part of the video where I'm supposed to tell you that physical media is going to be so much cheaper than streaming services, but it's just not true.
The DVD was a huge part of our business, of our revenue stream. Technology has just made that obsolete.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
Everyone knows the benefits of a physical disc, whether it's DVD, Blu-ray, or even 4K. You get superior picture quality, uncompressed audio, bonus features, and best of all, you own the film. So to recap, physical media still matters in 2025, and here's why. Streaming services will never beat physical media when it comes to visual and audio quality. Due to the bitrate and the actual information which cannot be transferred via the internet when you're streaming a film, many Blu-ray discs actually beat 4K Ultra HD streaming quality. And when you do compare a 4K Ultra HD streaming film to a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray disc, the physical disc in terms of audio and visual quality beats the streaming version by leaps and bounds. Why does physical media actually matter in 2025? Ownership and preservation of film is going to become increasingly more important as the years go by. And yes, if you do want to spend $10 a month or a small fee for something like Netflix, where you have a variety of random films which are constantly shipped from service to service and updated, deleted, it's sort of this cycle of films being added, removed, etc., then go ahead, get a Netflix subscription. But I truly believe that if you love and adore a film and it's something which, and it sounds quite corny, but holds a place in your heart, then you should own that film. So the idea of a streaming server, although it was something which I'd heard many times, it was never something which actually interested me or piqued my interest up until a few months ago. And now I am building my own film server, so essentially downloading all of my films. Over the past few months, I have been uploading to a server, and people could do more research into this, and it's a very niche sort of market, but Plex or Jellyfin servers, they're the most two common ones. And you might want to do a little bit of research between the two. Plex is a paid service, whereas Jellyfin is free. But these services are great. And if you truly love physical media, then I believe every single person should be creating their own film server. And this sounds like an advert for Plex or Jellyfin or some sort of server manufacturer, and it's not. It's not the case. But the fact is, I had heard about film servers for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I never really thought anything about it whilst having a fairly decently sized physical media collection. But the idea that I now am creating and have my own film server where you can actually view and access the film on your phone if you want to, you can download it if you're going on a plane or a train journey, and you still have those films which you love on physical media in the enhanced and upgraded audio and visual quality. I think that's incredible, and I just love the idea of having all of these movies which I've collected over many, many years, nearly a decade now, and I essentially have them forever. Disc rot isn't something which is going to come into account because, yes, if a Blu-ray disc does rot in, let's just say, 20 to 25 years, and it's a film that I want to go back and rewatch one day, then guess what? That film's been uploaded to a film server and I can view it from my computer, my television, my phone if I'm on a long journey, and it's great. And you have complete ownership and you're preserving the films which you love and adore. And we do see this throughout media with technology that companies are essentially wanting us to own much less. We've seen the same with video games, and yes, people can say, oh, it's because it's digital, or they're just creating disc-free consoles to make it more efficient. And is there a case for that? Possibly. But if you look at a timeline of physical discs, then it's kind of scary how we are actually owning less, and we have so much less ownership in comparison to what people had with collections 15 to 20 years ago. So the point that I'm trying to make is, if you truly love and adore a film, a franchise, a series, or even a collection of films, then I truly believe you should be collecting that in the highest possible quality on the best formats and preserving those films for life, essentially. How great would it be to one day go back, you've got this entire collection of movies which you loved at a different period in your life, and they're still available in the highest possible format, and guess what? You've got complete ownership of them. So, thank you very much for watching this video. This was kind of a rant on streaming services and why I truly believe physical media is important in 2025 and is going to become increasingly more important as the years go by. As always, thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.